Hey everybody, welcome back to another movie review. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late, and I will make a promise this time because I promised it in the last video. I will make this video around 10 minutes. I promise I will not make it any more than that because quite frankly I have very bite-sized thoughts on this film as it may or may not pertain or, illustrate my overall thoughts of said film, but to get to the review proper, though, today we are going to be discussing Kung Fu Panda 4, which is the fourth entry in the Kung Fu Panda franchise. Started out in 2008, I believe, with the first film, made its mark, and then gradually now has become a franchise, spawned TV series, as well as four films, with the potential of more in the future, potentially depending on the success of this film, which strangely enough has a lower budget compared to the other films. But seeing the film now, I can understand why. But to set up the film, Poe um, is now being asked by Master Shifu, voiced by Dustin Hoffman, and Poe once again being voiced by Jack Black, to find the next Dragon Warrior, as he is now advancing to spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. So at the last film, he was like given like a staff of swords from Uguay, and he is now tasked to take on that position and find someone to take his current place as the Dragon Warrior. And while searching for a successor, he stumbles upon a fox, played by Aquafina, and through this, he is given information about the chameleon, who is the latest threat to Kung Fu, the chameleon voiced by Viola Davis, and him and the fox travel to a very scummy, very thief-driven city in hopes to stop the chameleon and her shape-shifting abilities from conquering the world, and the drill. Um, so we've discussed Kung Fu Panda before on this channel, specifically the second film, and my thoughts on the second film were more spirited than I would say the other films. The first film being fine in its form. I mean, it's an introduction to this world, and I mean, in introduction, it's charming, if not completely supplying an overall interest, but still characterful and solidly animated. Now it's echoed the same throughout the other films, except the thing that consistently gets less is the overall quality. Its second film being the exception to that. The first film being fine, second film actually being a little bit of a step up. Third film, not really much to offer. And the fourth film, especially, I must say, offers very little. In comparison, I would actually say that this shares a lot of similarities to Cars 3 in very similar motivations, I think, both financially and narratively speaking. In that the film feels very tacked on. When you watch Cars 3, and I'm curious to put these two films together because they seem to act very similarly in narrative, right down to like the final battle or their like final moments where our protagonist is not strong enough, so they have someone else do it for them as a bridge to hopefully spinning off with that character of sorts in the future. With like Cars 3 with Lightning McQueen, with that car, like, oh, you wanted to be a racer? Now here's your opportunity because I can't finish the race. And in this film, Poe can't finish the battle, so the fox eventually takes it upon herself to finish the battle. So, and just by overall thematic quality, I mean, they're also very similar about, accepting changes, accepting that things are not the same, and having to move out of the, give the younger generation or an up and coming a chance to voice themselves rather than you still taking the spotlight when the spotlight is just not there anymore. Um, it's very, very similar. And my overall feelings of the film are also very similar in that I think that it feels tacked on. It feels like there's less of a reason for it to exist, and I worry that as time goes on that there will just be more of that same mentality thrown where I don't see why it needs to exist. And it has that like there's some biases that are given to like animated features because there's like this sort of stereotype that's given where it's like high energy, and in Kung Fu Panda 4 it is more of that because the other films were not as were a little bit more tempered than compared to this, where it just feels again just the catering towards more to a younger demographic, um, but um, but but really I don't have much else to say in that I just felt it just to be very tacked on, very purposeless, um, but I mean the mark that it gets once again I mean animation wise is it's fine, it's very colorful, very expressive, but it can be annoying in how expressive it is. Um, you get some appealing characters here and there. I mean, the Poe itself is not an annoying character. I didn't mind the fox, but again, I'm just kind of it's like looking for little things here and there. Because generally speaking, I just found myself very, very just tuned out of it, and I think I mean, it might have legs financially. It might be able to pull through, and we might even see a fifth one in the future. Um, but generally, I just found myself very just and it's consistent in the quality of these movies. Again, with the exception being that second film, where everything is just kind of going in a downward spiral. And the more time goes on, I worry that we are just gonna people are just like that. I'm very interested to see if a fifth film would exist, and if that fifth film would be another outlier or just more to the where I'm saying where it's just gonna go more and more downhill. Because I just really don't care now. I really don't care about where things go because narratively it's just ran out of juice, and it's just a squeeze. Ultimately, it's the way that you can best describe this film as a squeeze. How to narratively like squeeze out more, and how to and with the hopes to gain more profit. Same thing with Cars 3. It's like you've pretty much told all you can with Cars, but we got to get more money, so let's just squeeze at this as best we can in hopes to generate some interest. And like Cars 3, I just didn't care. And I mean, it's not completely without some merit. Again, some okay characteristics, and animation wise, still fairly good. But the phrase to describe the film is I just didn't really care. And I I think as time goes on, I'm really just not going to care. So, but but yeah, so those are my thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 4. Just okay. I mean, that's really where it's best described. I can't say it's bad, but it's just okay. Very emphasis on okay. Um, you know. So yeah. So annoying at times. Yeah, annoying. For the most part, pretty mindless, pretty purposeless in overall design. It feels like a corporate decision. That's the way that it really spoke to me when watching it, is that it felt less of a creative endeavor and more of a corporate decision. How to keep producing milk from a cow that's just not doesn't have doesn't have any more milk to supply. Again, Cars 3 is just a perfect illustration of Kung Fu Panda 4 and just what may follow after this. So, but those are my thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 4. You guys, what are your thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 4 if you guys checked it out, and your thoughts on the Kung Fu Panda franchise in general. And I've made my promise. We are less than 10 minutes, so finally did it. So, but that's going to be it for my thoughts, though. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.